Kia ora and good evening, everyone. Welcome into Wise Up TV tonight, where we're going to break down everything that's been happening in the last couple of days in the Wa atmosphere, the universe, Wa universe. Welcome in, everyone, and all the members that are coming in tonight for our members show. Great to have you all aboard. If you can, when you enter the door, please take off your shoes. And the way you can take it off your shoes is hitting that like button and subscribe. We're about 5 away from 3K, so we'd appreciate that very kindly if you will. We appreciate it. But welcome in everyone that's coming in so far. Carl, much love to our channel members. Carl, always a faithful first grader. T Mackie as well. And it went backwards. It's the hand of God. Or the hand of the ref, should they say. And welcome in Tans as well. Always channel members. Thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate you. Much love to everyone out there. Look, there's a lot to break down. If you hadn't noticed, I did a video analysis show that I posted, I think it was last night or the night before. But yeah, if you haven't checked out, we break down all the visuals, all the details from that. It's definitely something I want to get back into for those OG members and followers of Wise Up TV, especially 23. I suppose that's how I got known for was doing video analysis on Instagram. I used to do a little bit more of it as well on YouTube, but I kind of got frustrated with the tools that were available for me. But now I've found something very resourceful, and I think it's kind of a really good way to engage with analysis content. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that moving forward. But guys, anyway, let's get into your thoughts. Appreciate everyone that's coming through. Let me know what you want to talk about. Last week I had all these talking points from the Titans game, I think it was, and and somehow I don't know, maybe as the weeks change and you get busier, that kind of changed this week. I was frustrated, but at the same time, I think this is what I expect from the team. The biggest thing that's been circulating in my mind is that, and I hope I'm proven wrong, but I feel like we've maxed out. I just have that perpetuating that thought that this actual team right now currently is actually that's probably the best they can do. They could do better, obviously, 1%ers wise, but including the style of play, who we have, the type of tries we're scoring, I suppose the amount of X factor, the lack of points at times, taking everything into consideration with the injuries to Barnett, Metcalf, the inconsistency at the centre position, a little bit of age showing now in some positions on the field. It's like, I don't want to be too hard on this team. I think they've overachieved massively. And also, it's like I'm kind of content. And I know I was big on talking about, look, let's push for fourth, But some reason this week I'm feeling like let's just stay in sixth. Let's just stay where we are. Give everyone a break this Friday. Let them rest up and just if we come up against the Panthers at home next week, let's just give it the best crack we possibly can, and let the chips fall where they may. I'm kind of that mindset. Whereas the week before was like, let's improve, let's get everything going. And maybe it's me just kind of not so much defeatist attitude, but it's like I'm just not. Yeah, I just can't like see. Maybe I can't see a way forward where we're really gonna break open in the finals, and all of a sudden we're really clicking. Um, but that's not to discredit a lot of things as well, the good things. But I'm just kind of in that mindset, like maybe let's just have a break and reset and get Egan healthy, get anyone else that's a bit banged up, let them rest this week for Brookvale. Another big thought of mine was like, do we need to do we what's the priority? Is it really winning at Brookvale to build combinations or prove something to ourselves that we need to win this last game? Or is it actually preparing ourselves for finals, similar to what other teams are doing now? And so I'm kind of, trying to figure out what that answer may be. But anyway, let me get to the chat. Let me get what your guys' feelings are because it'd be interested to see what you guys are saying. Hey man, thanks guys. Appreciate the analysis, feedback. That's good. I'll keep pushing to it. And like I said, I've got a format that's a lot more easier for me to get work done. Other ways I found were very difficult. This one's really cool, so I'll keep pushing those through when I can. Soul Nice, good to see you, my man. Tom, you from Sydney? Let me know what your thoughts to give Webby later in the week. Everyone check in the chat. Yeah, great stuff, man. Dom, I hope you get out to the to see the boys on Friday. That'd be cool, man. Teammates saying my thoughts. We should have run the score up on para, but stuck to that conservative style. Webster really want us to keep keeping that baseline. Yeah, it's a very difficult one because if you notice, a lot of other teams can actually match us in that style. So I think what I'm seeing is that we're not this unique team that plays a grinded out style and no one can keep up with us. Um, and maybe barring injuries, you might say, oh, there might be a different story. We might really put teams to the test. It seems as though that teams, even lower teams, currently are able to play that same style. I think of the Titans at home. I think of the Dolphins specifically. If you have good kicking halves, they can stay in the fight here away in Mount Smart, and especially Mitchell Moses, his kicking boot. That the better kickers almost just pin us back, and it's hard to because we stay in that cycle. It's very hard to break that cycle. Maybe the best example was you need long range line breaks like what Roger Tuvasashek was giving us to break that cycle up, and you kind of get a bit more free flowing football. But it's just the nature of the beast as well. Teams are very sound defensively through the middle now, and um, I think that maybe in 23 we were like really caught everyone off guard. Now people know what to expect when they come to play the Warriors, so it's a little bit of that. But Webby is very much focused on that game model, and you still need some game breakers to break the model up. You know what I mean? I think that's what I'm trying to say. Hans, my man, good to see you, my bro. Kia ora tahi, man. Kia ora whānau aki aki kia kaha e. Yeah, and ko nei hana this week. Much love to Queenie Ngā Wahino i te pō. Anyone that's going out to Ngaroa here this week, I hope you have a good time, but it should be a good, great weekend te ao Māori. Dancing, I don't think anyone in particular had a poor game, but sometimes it looks like our defense can't read the attack, if that makes sense. Yeah, I pinpointed that one try, that Yongi, the first try. I thought that was fantastic. Great different style. I mean, you need a halfback too that's got that experience and can play a bit of Mitchell Moses. He can throw a cutout when you're not expecting it, and doing those types of things and pulling the trigger at the right time. He's a great player, and I suppose that's the difference between levels of halfbacks is the quality to pull out plays like that, which we struggled with. This last game, same team and have a crack. We will still be out about 6. So very happy. Yeah, I'd stay around 6. Snakes balls hit it right. We are pedestrian for 50 minutes, but can turn up the score when we need to. Wow. Yeah, it's for me. Like it's the old adage is you break them through the middle and then everything opens up out wide. I suppose maybe the penetration through the middle at times isn't always completely dominant. If you look at our goal line attack in 23, parts of 24, we had AFB making that quick play the ball, that amazing kind of head up that would break the line, and you get a quick play ball, and you'd draw on all these defenders, and then all the stuff would open up for SJ and whoever through Egan's game. And I don't think we have that same impact through the middle as in previous years, and we probably don't have the ball players as well. Probably adding in the element of a Dylan Walker or Tohu Harris. We don't have those ball players to really draw the defense through the middle to create easy openings for the outside. So there's a bit of everything happening, which I think is limiting our goal line attack. And I think that's part of it. Yeah, it's a frustration at times. But yeah, prep for the finals. Warriors v Panthers, man. I'm kind of content to going down that path. Hey, my man. It's like we were really lacking a 1-2 punch in the forwards. Yeah. Thoughts of the Daily Moala news? Our prop depth is running thin, especially as we're set to lose our four and Ali. Yeah, I agree. I think there's still a little bit of a gap to bringing in the next wave of props. And I think a David Moala might be that bridge as well. Again, our props are going to get older, a year older. So if you're looking at, I think Dimitric's good though. He's coming into his prime years. But especially if you're looking at a Fish, he's going to be 1 year older. Barnett's going to be off an ACL and finding his feet a little bit more next year. And so we still need some boppers in the middle. Jackson Ford, as much as he's been good as a stopgap, is he a true out and out forward prop that you want in the middle week to week? TSS has been okay, but can he break through into another level? So there's that argument as well, which probably saying, yeah, the Moali news, if it is real, it could be good. I haven't seen much of him. I know Ash would have a great read on Davey Moali, but I'm sure the club are looking to the future and thinking we kind of need to re-establish this front row and have the best possible backups to fit the model that they want to play. My man Soul saying it's easier if we get into the top four to potentially win or come close to, and is it more of a grind if we're out of the top four? Well, I think from historically, no team has won a comp outside the top four. If you remember, we used to play. Those in the chat will know the name of it. I think this is the McIntyre system that we're playing now. There was another system we used to play where it was 1v8, 2, and then if one lost that first round, they still had a second life. Whereas this one, you play 1v4, 2v3, and it's very hard to crack because you're playing almost, away the whole 3 or 4 rounds, and it just gives, the top 4 teams are usually the ones that stay, and they kind of, because they've earned their place on the table, it gives them that extra buffer. But yeah, it's a tough one. I think we're going to have to end up being 6, I think, and we're just going to play it out that way. And the further we can get, the better. I mean, there's Warriors teams in the past that have done it from 8. We think of 2008. We even think about, I think we were in 6th in 2011, and so there's possibilities, but the chances of really making it to the grand final are limited outside the top 4. We're in the 8. We have to be happy with that, considering we lost Metz and Barney at a crucial stage of the competition, had no centre, no wing at stages, lost Fish to a pick, and have been turning the 7th. Yeah. And that's context again, isn't it? So you add in all those things. And I suppose maybe for me, being a selfish fan, I want to win a premiership, but I want to do some damage as well. But if you're thinking, damn, our opponents are going to be the Panthers, and history kind of tells a story there. But yeah, it's again, once the season settles and the dust settles, I think I'll be really proud of what the team's achieved this year. And you think, man, if we had our full strength and availability and all that, things may be different. But yeah, there's a lot to play for still, and I'm just thinking, man, let's just rest up this week and give it our best shot for do or die in week one. Offload's still killing us. Yeah, there's still some difficulties in the middle. I suppose we're not fully dominant. Um, Rather, they had lots to play for. The old boys celebration, fighting for top four, doing it to themselves and families and key players that are injured for our home fans, but still wasn't enough. Yeah, man. This is true too. There was a ton to play for. And I knew though that the Eels were up for it too. Like as much as they are kind of on, not making the finals, I think Riles still had them up for it, and you could tell. And we just, we really nodded off in some of those first two tries for me. Just we gave them 12 points pretty much. So, I that hurts me more than the comeback and even the Dimitri knock on. It's like, man, we were really soft in that first period, and we let in some soft tries, and we could have been better. But um, it's one of those frustrations that I've had that we still have a lot of these simple errors in us at times, which reflects that the team isn't, as he's saying, it wasn't enough, and maybe they don't have enough in the tank to across the board. Um, yeah, definitely easier top four as we get second life. Yeah, early mail suggests Storm and Dogs won't rest players, so it should win. The real question: will we win versus Manly? Well, that's what I'm saying. If you even fight for a fifth, um, or a fourth, you never know. Um, but if the opportunity's there, do you go and take it? And then maybe you do get a fourth, and you play to two lives, which I think is fantastic. But I'm just like, is it worth it? Is it really worth that? Was just a better to accept where we're at? Yeah, yep. So New South Wales team get a bye in the first week of players. If so, yeah, they do actually. I saw that they don't have a game this week, so yeah, anything can happen. I actually totally agree with this from Tahi here. Finals footy, you just never know, man. Like I say, if you just be as ready as you can be, you take the opportunities when they present themselves. Like for me, you need clutch players in the finals. You need good players that are going to seize the moment. That for me is probably going to be someone like Leka Halasima. He will need to have his moment. Um, I don't think I don't think playing conservative footy is going to do much in the finals. Um, You never know if we play Penrith at home in the first round and the crowd's up for it and we bring the boys home, you might be able to pull an upset. You really might be, but um, I think you need X Factor. You definitely need X Factor to kind of like if you think about Leka, even those two tries last week, we needed every ounce of that. We still need him. He's still the key figure in terms of creating X Factor moments. And that tells you a lot that if he's the only guy and everyone else is kind of conservative or limited in that space, then um, you know we need to get some more points, somehow. Something to think about. We should go hard at Manly. We have everything to gain, and let's put a grade performance. Webby's been harping on for Friday, just before finals. That's another element, Kyle. You're bang on is that you can go for it. You can go for it, and maybe that G's you up enough to like get ready for finals week. So I'm interested. Like tomorrow night will tell me a lot, man. Tomorrow night will tell me a lot what Webby's thinking. Does he just bring in the Sam Healy's and the and everyone else and he just empties the tank, kind of what Penrith did, or he say, "Nah, boys, we're we've got to keep pushing through." I was of the mindset to keep pushing through, but I'm kind of not disheartened. But I'm like, let's just settle for sixth. But I agree with your thoughts as well, your sentiments. Um, yeah, the Chestavunga Cup, the Feleti Mateo medal, yeah, I think so, bro. I think so. Can't say I'm over. We look at good at different stages of the game. Can we just look good for the entire game? I know, tons. I know. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, isn't it? And that's symptomatic of you want to be hitting your straps for the finals. So if we beat Penrith and win the reserve grade grand final, that would keep up for me. Yeah, I mean, bro, beating Penrith, knocking them out would be massive. That might be bigger than winning, beating the Knights at home in 23. So there's a lot to play for, man. If I'm Tanner Boyd, if I'm there's some of these boys, I'm thinking, man, I got a chance to make history. Well, I can stop the streak of Penrith making a grand final. Um, you know, 5 years or 6 years in a row, is it now, whatever it may be. So there's opportunities here for guys to step up and say, look, I want to earn a long term contract here. If I'm clutching the finals, that shows the fans, that shows Webby that I can be dependent on. That's kind of what I think anyway. Everyone knows our games, 3 to 4 head ups from the back kick chase, then they diffuse, send us back to where we start. They know we can't score, so it become Groundhog Day. Yeah, there is that element, isn't it? There is actually that element. And this is kind of a deeper thought of mine, Dom, is that like that game model is good in many senses. It's created a baseline that has kept us in the top 8, but at a deeper level, it's pretty much saying that we don't have quite the talent to go from plan A to plan B, or to mix it up at times. And it speaks of Webby creating a model that kind of uh, um, gets everyone gets us to a place without having the X factor players, but does the job that without them. It's a kind of real optimized system that can kind of get a team to look, a team that's probably technically an 8th or 9th position team, which we are probably, to a top 8 finish. And I think he has to be commended for that, because he's realized, look, maybe I don't have the X factor players to do other things. Let me just optimize this so I can get these players through the system. But yeah, when you get to levels, and and teams can match you in those same skill sets, that grinded style, it's you start to find that we need some more talent. Much like you need Metcalf, much like you need Barnett, you need these good quality players to kind of enhance the system even more, or take things to another level, or divert from the system. Much like Metcalf, he would break the system at times. He'd go from dummy half and go for a long range try. A lot of the long range tries, have you seen, have dried up since Metcalf's kind of been out. So that tells you a lot about this. You need structure, but you also need players that can play off them, off the cuff, and get you something long range, or find. You can't just keep doing the same thing all over. You need that variety. Variety. You need players that can provide variety in a long way. S Yeah, yeah, I was frustrated with that one as well. So, are you going to the game next week, provided? Yeah, man, I'm gonna head up to Auckland. I love I went to the Knights finals game in 23. That was amazing atmosphere. I know for a fact if it's at home against Panthers, there'll be a massive atmosphere. So, as soon as those tickets are out, I'm gonna get me one. No matter where it is, I'll grab me a seat or two. How do we beat the Panthers? Start Jet Cleary. I'll write the script. I don't think they'll go that far, T Mackey. Um, Fifth might be an option too. Play with Roosters at home. There's a chance. You know, um, Roosters got slapped up by the Eels. Um, does that tell us that that'd be a better opposition, and then we survive another week? So yeah, it's kind of one of those things, but it's in the hands of the Bulldogs and the um and the Storm, but you know, I'm not sure if we can beat the Sea Eagles at Brookie right now. I'm just not confident in it. It's like, that's what I'm kind of trying to say. Um, Got to give a shout out to Capewell. He chased the Fox to the try line. He didn't get it there, but yeah, man, the intent was there. But the detail at the start, Marata and Dallin, even CNK should have just given that extra effort to kind of close that space up. You know what I mean? That's one thing I was a bit disappointed in. Yeah, well, I think he'll be fresh and ready to go forever. I think he'll be ready and rocking. To be honest, um, yeah, we look a bit like we did last season. We have become predictable early this year. We had Metcalf who broke patterns, not allowing teams to. It did. You have to have guys that can break the pattern up, just like Liquor can break a pattern up. You need guys that, for me, if you think about it, this is kind of another analogy, right? There are in a defensive line. You got the two markers. That's two people. Then you have a fullback at the back, and then you have 10 men in defensive line, pretty much, right? So you need players, and there's 20 shoulders technically, and there's a shoulder, to either side of a channel. So there's 10 channels technically, in the line defending. You need, players that commit those shoulders more so in certain parts of the field that create openings for other options to attack different shoulders. So, you know, AFB, for a perfect example, was a prop that would draw on those A and B defenders, heavily. Um, and then you'd have Dylan Walkers and Tohu Harrises that could draw in through ball playing with a lead runner. They could draw in those A, B, C, and D defenders. Then you had a Sean Johnson that could do the others and move pieces, like better effectively move pieces around the board. I think with Aaron Clark, he's a great runner of the ball. He's just, that movement in the lock position. If you think a part of our game model, one big part of Weeby's game model is actually getting the front rower through the line through depth passing. That was remember AFB in 23, you had 10 or 12 tries just front door passes because that threat on the outside was so strong. We've seen it against the Titans that when they get things right, and even against the Eels, but you need all those cogs, and like you need a Lecker in that channel more so than a Marata at times to keep that channel accountable. That opens up stuff out the back. So you need every channel to be able to have an X factor or a target man that keeps that channel accountable. If it doesn't, it's just side to side. So, that's kind of another way of thinking of it. How does the training system work in Cup as opposed to first grade? I was under pressure that all grades follow the same systems to the transition. It's seamless. Yeah, I think that's everyone's doing the same thing. Just a different level, isn't it? The Cup guys are doing really well. We've got some good quality backup players in there, good quality. I think they're just on another level, and maybe the system at that level was very effective because we've done so well the last 3 years development. But when you come up to the next level, it's a whole nother level. That's all I can think, cunts. Yeah, we don't have expect, and I have now learned we are what we are. I personally think we keep rolling forward, keep trying to improve. We don't have the players to really swap in and out now. Yeah, we just got to roll with what we got. I'm thinking. I felt Egan was injured that played large part of the loss when everything was running clutch, bad service, released the pressure once. He had a horrible game. That was probably the worst game I've seen Egan play. He had a 4 pass, he had a knock on, um, defensive lapses. Yeah, he was just all over the shop. But yeah, Tamati did a good job just to kind of give us some variety. Did we bring in Tamati and Tuapiki back into the starting side? To him at 7 and Tuapiki. Look, the thing is, Timeki, you could do this. You could run the risk of Tamati, a gunslinger, someone that's off the cuff. He'll do things randomly that you won't expect. I think Webby likes that consistent grind, long kicking game. But, for me, as it's shown that it has its limitations too. Like Tanner Boyd's good, but he's a game manager. He's a game managing half. He does his part, but there's nothing, I suppose, X factor about what he does. There's nothing that can really transcend or lift the momentum of the team. I think you've seen with Tamaiti, he can change the momentum of the game. He can get things going. So that's probably something that could be done, but I just don't think I don't think Webby's going to go that way. Yeah, unpredictable. I mean, and it comes with intercept passes too at times, but you know that's up to Webby, man. He has to really call the pin on what he's going to do there. But for me, like Tanner Boyd's a good player, but he is what he is in many senses, and CHT in many senses is what he is. And they need for them to work, they have to have amazing execution, like really solid execution of the attacking structure. They can't really do anything off the cuff. They very much follow the system, play through the plays as they're designed. But there's no long cutout passes. There's nothing, I suppose, that's risky. So yeah, something that's kind of what I see. Eddie and Jacko as the props coming off the bench would be great. Keeps the interchanges low at that position. Yeah, it might be interesting. Yeah, I did notice CK is just doing head ups. We need more of an impact fullback. He is great for head ups, but is that the right fullback we need? To Picky offers just a bit more ball playing and speed. Look, I saw a fullback in Iyongi that was fantastic. That's probably a fullback that's his style is wow. He's got speed. He's got burning speed, like outside burning speed. He can change of pace. Good sound defense for me. At times, I haven't watched a lot of him, but I'm sure he's got ball playing ability. He's one that I'm thinking in the future. He's a talent, and you're thinking he's on a trajectory that's probably above us. Definitely above a CNK currently. And yeah, that's where we probably need to look at the future of the fullback position and say, hey, we CNK has been a great servant, but we need to go into a new direction with someone that's got more energy, that's got the build and the capacity to be like a Yongi or whoever it is, like a Tedesco. That's kind of the thing I'm thinking about. Maybe it looks like he's trying to turn us into Penrith. We just don't quite have the players for it without Barney there. Yeah, that's the difficulty of it. But at the same time, you can adapt to you kind of adapt to your team and I think Webby is to be honest, the game model under Sean in that era had a lot of expansiveness to it too. It was very remember all the trick plays the Warriors used to come up with? Like there was a lot of creativity. It seems as though we've gone back to kind of just sort of simple structures, and so maybe that's another element too. Is that and the double leads haven't been a big thing this year. I think teams have stopped running that. Maybe it's not a play that's effective anymore as teams have kind of picked it out. But there's other things that you've seen in our kind of stable of set plays we've kind of dropped over the year, and it's maybe changed to the playing personnel, which again might speak to losing Dylan Walker or losing or not having enough creativity in certain parts of the field. We're not seeing certain elements. Even right now, currently with Tanner Boyd and CHT, they're not big cutout pass type guys. Face ball type halves. So you're limiting even that element, throwing a face ball double cutout onto a flying center. So yeah, there are things that aren't quite thing, but at the same, I'm not being dismissive of what the team's done. Effectively, they've made a top 8 comfortably, which I've never seen in a long time as a Warriors fan, barring 23 and a few other years. So I give them credit for that. But yeah, to go to another level, Not so much, I'd say. I think Boyd would be dominant if he had a dominant forward pack because we don't need out of the box halves and back. We need out of you don't because we don't. We need out of the box halves and back. Yeah, that might be a good point, Inspector. If the forwards are super dominant, bro, you can roll through. Like, look at what we did to the Titans because the roll on was so good. And I think the Titans were kind of on a decline. They kind of the effort was probably on the last stand. So but everything flowed right. You can run your plays effectively because you're getting all the bites that you can because the defense is all over the shop. But yeah, when you come into a pack that can contain you, you know, more structured halves, there's less openings. So you need kind of players that can out of the box, like you're saying, halves and backs to kind of create. Yeah, man. I thought I thought in that situation he kind of misjudged it. He gave him an easy out for Yongi. I thought he should have shown him the sideline. Maybe should have directed him towards Pompey. But yeah, anyway. Absolutely, Tay. Absolutely. I've seen if we just stack our team and just front load the out of this game. If you're going to win, then go out in the Blaze of Glory finals. There's no place for conservative footy. Yeah, you seize the moment. I think if anything, we've had really good footy ball. Like in the goal line, just the execution hasn't been good. For a goal line attack, I think you need to be scoring one in every 2 or 3 goal line attacking sets. So I'm not sure what our percentages are when we have a goal line attacking set, but it seems as though we have an inconsistency to put points on the board, and we're still having lapses, mental lapses, to allow other teams to put points on the board, isn't it? So it's kind of one of those things. If you can't stop the points, you have to find points to match it. To go gunslinger styles, kind of what we did with the Eels. We kind of nearly did it if you add in the Dimitri try. It nearly happened, but yeah, it's just you never know, bro. You never know. You still have to have a platform. I agree with Webby in some cases. Like you can't just go gunslinger and just throw it around, but yeah. I it's just that balance of system and X factor players for me. Something we need to look at next year. I'd like to see us play some footy before we get to 20 points down. It frustrated me on Friday night. It seems like we play yeah, exactly. That is something that's you know, but it's again when you have an amazing kicker like Mitch Moses that you can play force back with. Tanner boy, you kick it down there. Okay, get me to the 40. I'll kick it back to you at the 10. You need someone to break that cycle up because we're not going to pin them down their end enough times. But you need teams that with high, have a lot of errors too to be able. And if teams aren't creating errors, then it's like force back style. Pomp's been very effective. Great point, Will. Pomp's been he's flourished. He's flourished in the system defensively too. Like you're saying, he hasn't been caught out a lot. His defensive structures have been really good this year, man. Really, really good. CNK, Tui Piki Berry, Pompey, RTS, CHT, Tamide, Clark, Cape War, Halasima, JFH, Egan, Vaimonga, Bench, Healy, or Boyd, EIT for Newcody. Yeah, man. Let me go back to that squad actually. Yeah, mate. It's just one of those things, like you said, go for broke, man. Yeah, man. The two I see, he's been fantastic this year. He absolutely has. Um, yeah. What's one position you want to improve for the future? Oof. I think I think it might be time to look at fullback and really kind of like decide which way we want to go in the future. Like I love what the Eels have done with Yongi. Like they pretty much said to Gutherson, "Look, mate, your time's done here. We're going to go in a new direction." And there was growing pains for them. Um, but blooding in Yongi this whole year has been. You can look at it now in the performance against us and think, "Wow, that's a talent that they've got. They could build around that. They can build that team into something next year." Especially with Mitch Moses, and if he gets the right house partner. But you're thinking, man, that's a that's a quality young fullback. I'm just thinking, can we go that route too? Is there a player that's coming through that, it may be Tane, it may not be Tane. Maybe there's someone else. I just think it's time to go for a youthful kind of approach. Um, I've loved what RTS has done. I'd still try and upgrade the wingers and take a kind of a hit this year to blood in next year to blood in some um, blood in some new wingers as they're kind of getting old and um, I'll try and approach that too. Again, I'll go to the market for another center to either challenge Pompey and Berry. I still believe in express speed in the center position, i.e., Kohler, Herbie Farmworth, all of those types that can get on the outside a bit more. So if there's one available, um, or if there's something through the system that it could, I would go that way. Um, so those are mainly outside backs for me, just to kind of start going in a new direction, is what I would say. Yeah, support play. I think a big part of our system is that we're not ready for the offload a lot of the time or the line break. I think we expect that player to go and do that play and get tackled because we're reloading for the next play. So you'll see line breaks like that. There's no one in the support a lot of the time. So yeah, those are little things we could probably improve on. CHT and TMM, it would be like having two Chad Towns is doing our long kicking. Well, that's what I'm saying. With TMM, he's not the perfect player, but you sacrifice long kicking for creativity. And I'm not sure if Webby will go for that. But I mean, if the long kicking game is you have to have the forward pack to dominate, in that long kicking game and defensively to build that, pin them down their end. If you can't do that, you're kicking for the sake of kicking at times for me. I feel like we just go for it this weekend. If it comes off, we possibly gain confidence. And if it doesn't, 6 would be the way. Yeah, 6, we can't go any lower, really. The Penrith are on 31, so we're on 34. So that's what I'm saying. You give it a crack, or you try something out, see if it works. If it doesn't, think Parrot are a great team when there is no pressure on them. They will struggle when people expect things from them. Absolutely. I'm just thinking from a pure talent perspective, Yongi is someone that he looks like a player that, he's going to have a good future. I feel a lot like a lot of the Warriors fans are a bit antsy because it's been 30 years and no title. I think this because that's how I feel. Yeah, yeah. If you know, I think this team is fantastic. I really believe Webby's built a great team and I'm happy to ride this out. For many a year to come. I want to see this project kind of fulfilled to whatever its max ability is. Um, I think though you need as much as the system is effective, you still need quality. Um, and for the majority, whoever has the best halves, the best team of players, and usually the best coach, and I think Webby's up there, he's getting himself up there. Those guys usually still win the comps. And if we're being honest with ourselves, we probably roster wise don't have the best of everything. And you look at the Panthers and their success, they've got the best halfback, they had the best 5'8", probably best lock and yo. They had, Dylan Edwards, one of the best fullback. There's top class talent too. And I think we're trying to do that. We're trying to build that development pipeline. But, for us to be truly successful, to win it all, we will need some luck, but we'll also need some quality. I mean, if you can think if Jack Cleary could become that, what his brother is, then a lot of us, are probably thinking, man, let's be patient and let's get Jet, But again, it's unknown. There's no known ones, and the teams that have the good halves have usually brought them up, and now you got an expansion team coming in. I think we're either going to develop what we can develop. I don't think there's going to be any massive movers in the market to bring players home. Probably will be, but again, Perth will be looking for their chunk of players. So who knows what the market will be like next year? I think with Perth opening up, we might have to just trust in our development process, which will probably set in place more of again, we're going to go through a growth cycle again next year. I'm hoping we get some more pieces in. I mean, but I think it seems as though we're going to go through another. This is kind of part of the reason why I think because Perth are coming and PNG are coming in, we have to have that pipeline. We have to have that pipeline to compete with other teams because that talent pool is going to be spread across more. Like there's 60 players that need to be bought from somewhere in the next 4 to 5 years, and we need to be able to produce our own, which I think the club is smart to do. And but maybe that to turn them into elite talents across the park, probably going to take another 3 or 4 or 5 years, and that's that patience part of the Warriors fans. By then, it'll be 35 years and 40. I know I'll be tired content wise. I might have retired by then. I'm waiting, but um, the love for the club. I think everyone that's on the roller coaster is here because we love it. But you want to see a point where there is a finish line. Anyway, I'm babbling on. Yep. You always bring that one Wills, eh? Well, there you go. Fatialofa might be one. Yep. I think we have one more year to bleed in the backs to replace RTS, DWGC, and but I can see the transition happening next season. Yeah, man. Could very well be. I did keen on fast center, especially with Rocco and his constant. Yeah, I mean, we just need that cover. Yep. Yes, we never had stability. That's why I think this stability, we need to maintain it. I don't, people saying, they get frustrated with Webby and his style and the conservativeness. I think we have to let it play out though to see the full fruits of everything they've built. I think we've seen that in fullness yet. Yeah, the stability's been great, I think, for this club. Anyone else that's been through the last 10, 12 years before that knows this is way better. This is way better than what we've been through. Um, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, definitely don't have the game breaking talent players, but we are a great team though at the moment, and have proved that this season there's some great. Yeah, and I've much as I've said that Dallin and Catewell and Marata and Ford, and we've got some aging vets, bro. There's some young talent coming through that is going to stake their claim on some of those positions. What's Lika Halasima going to be like next year? What's Dimitri Vaimonga going to be like next year? With that bit more extra years, battle hard, and what does a Jacob Laban look like? What is a Fati Lofa coming through next year? What is whoever else off the cab coming through might look like next year? And then the following year, thinking, what about a Bishop Neal? What about another talent? So again, it's that, and then we're building a base in Logan, and we're thinking, can we pull off some Brisbane talent that we're not expecting? And they come in, and then you build a team, and then you're thinking, and I know it's a little bit further away, but you're thinking 2027, 28. Shivers, there might be a group of talent there that really might take the NRL by storm. You never know, you know. Um, what's your thoughts on Egan the past few weeks? I feel 2026 will be when Healy will need to take over. Yeah, it's Egan he's been good for me. Um, I think from I suppose a playing perspective, he's played more minutes this year. Um, look, I think I think he's been really good. Like I say, he's six again, that kind of thing. I made up, Mister Six Egan, because he could draw those six agains. Um, but yeah, there just seems at times. I think he just probably the options that he takes, or having the outsides to play. Like I thought with him and Dylan Walker and Sean, that connection and Tohu, that connection they had, and that kind of system was just so amazing to see upon reflection, and I think they just were so in tune as experienced footy players. It's looked a lot different this year, I suppose, with Aaron Clark being that kind of ball option, who's more of a runner of the ball. Um, I think he's probably missing a Metcalf, having other guys that are more consistent options. His body's probably breaking down, and you're probably thinking, but I still think he's got a year or two in him, man. I wouldn't pull the pin. I wouldn't pull the pin on it. I don't think Healy's quite at the level yet that we need, but he's more youthful. But T-Mac, you might not know. Maybe they start to transition Egan out, and he kind of comes off the bench a bit more. But I still think he's got a year or two left in him, man. Personally, as a starter, um, and maybe I agree with what Tahi's saying here, is that he will just eventually slow down a bit, um, and maybe him off the bench would be great. Kind of manipulating the ruck, that type of thing. In the future years. So I don't think he's an asset we want to lose right now, or give up on, or change the mantle over. But um, yeah, that's kind of how I see it, bro. Um, um, okay, guys, we've got another 7 more minutes. If there's any other questions you have, I hope you guys have had a good time kind of talking, chopping things up about the boys. I'm still pumped. I'm still pumped for the rest of the season, but um, yeah, as content creators, starting to feel the length of the season. I think the players will be feeling it too. Like, it's a long season, man. When you add in all the origins and the 3 buys, it's like, man, we need to cut this season down a couple of weeks, man, just to make it more like impactful. You know what I mean? Like, I think 24 weeks, like a perfect 6 months, would be fantastic for this comp. You know, was it 27 weeks? I don't know if you add in, yeah, maybe it's 30 weeks. It seems like um or 24 weeks, maybe spaced out over. Yeah, it just feels like it's a long, long season, man. Um, Yeah, I think we should really try and. Which cupcakes do you want to see get a run this week, man? At least one will. Yeah. I would love. You know what, man? A Jet Cleary right now would be. I don't know if like maybe we would do it, but um, that's another one with a crack. Trying to think of all the cup players. Who would you like, Mickey? Anyone in the chat? Who would you like to see from cup play? Um, yeah, it's a hard grind. The 20 rounds and rep rounds. Yeah, again, just sort of be hard to shorten with the Bears entering. Yeah, well, shout out where yeah, again, it's like the NRL want more and more content, don't they? And it's like, man, when I hate the origin rounds because it really messes with the flow of the comp. Um, but then again, every sport has it. Like 82 games in the NBA, I'm like, that's just way too much. Premier League now has 38, but it's got all these league cups, FA Cups. I think NFL's the only competition that is just pure without any thing. But I would like to see the season just shorten, like even a couple rounds, just because it's set 27 rounds right now, or 20. It's 24 rounds, but it takes 27 rounds to do the 24 games. I would just like to see that shortened to maybe 25 weeks, 25 rounds. And just take two of them off, just to kind of give a breath of fresh air and just keep the comp kind of a bit more pure, in my opinion. Kalani going at Kalis Fatialofa for me. Yeah, I love to see that Kalis boy. I really love to see him come through. Kalani is a guy that I've always liked. I think he's a good player. Let's give some of these guys an opportunity at Brookie. If they go for the rest, if they really do rest it up. Bunty, yeah, man, why not? Why not give him the send off by the team? The away fans can get out there and give some love to Bunty if he's announced. I know I talked about not doing it last week, Mackie, but yeah, I still believe that. But if we're gonna not really give this game much, I think we should, man. Just in the chat, like, who do you think are the front runners to win this comp? For me personally, I would love the Raiders to do it. Somehow, I think they're going to get screwed in the finals. I've just got this feeling like the NRL won't let them win, or they'll be good enough, but the Storm will win it, or the Panthers. I'm trying to I think the Sharks will bow out. Will probably bow out. Broncos, I think they're more pretenders than anything, but um, and Roosters, I just can't see it from the 8th position. But for me personally, I'd love the Raiders to win one. Go back to those old Canberra Raiders days with Mel Meninga. I think that would be good for the people of Canberra and the club. Um, yeah, that's something. Um, Shout out, bro, Josh. The chat you had earlier about young fullback could be Egan's brother Talon, just putting out there. Hopefully they choose to stick around. Yeah, I mean, there's again, I just think there's a youthful, like for me, Tane, he's good, but he is on the little bit smaller side. You wanted someone that's kind of just a little bit bigger. Like Iongi's body type for me is a good one. If that Talon Egan, he might be something in that mold. There are some great young fullbacks coming through the ranks in the flag and the SG ball. That's why I'm thinking, um, if you brought them up though, you'd still have to. You're going to take a little bit of a hit. You are going to take a little bit of a hit, growing pains and all that. I think CNK when he came in, he was so experienced. He had that run in 2019. I think he was, he was good for the Raiders for a majority there. And his experience and ability just hit the ground running, won the Webby, and that's why I think CNK has been fantastic for us. But I think for if anything, CNK is just his body is breaking down. He's getting a bit older. But if you go for a young fullback, you're gonna have to commit to it, and you're gonna have to probably just live with the highs and the lows. And if it's the right one, I can live with it. You know what I mean? Yeah, Raiders. I'd love for them to win. Melbourne. I can't see it. I don't want to believe it. It probably is true though. Seal Cully would be good to have a little look at. Yeah. The Rabbitohs. Yeah, the Rabbitohs winger would be good looking. Storm are probably the favourites, but the Raiders have always been really good against. Yeah, I would honestly. I just got a soft spot for them. Would love it for Ricky. People wrote him off. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's so true, Wills. Oh man, I think like Andrew Johns hasn't probably watched the Warriors since 2011, so he just remembers us being upsetting them. I don't think he watched the last 14, 15 years since then. Crosby, maybe give him a crack, yeah. Raiders, Roosters, that's a repeat of 2019, was it, or 2018? Raiders, Ricky will give them any given Sunday speech. Yeah, that'd be good. That's a good era. Ricky and Jed as the father-son premiership winners this time round. Yeah. Young is a young RTS. That's a good one. Okay, guys. Well, I'll leave it there, but thank you all the channel members for being amazing people that you are. 74 of you guys in here. Please hit that like and subscribe. Don't think we hit 3K yet. Maybe we'll hit 3K tomorrow, and we'll give out some free memberships then if we crack it. But appreciate everyone coming through. You're amazing people. Appreciate it. Come through tomorrow night for all you can eat. We'll look at that team list. We'll see what if it's wholesale changes, then we'll be saying, hey, we're going to sit for sixth. If it isn't, then there's a room there to maybe go up to fourth or fifth. We'll see what happens. But either way, coming for tomorrow night, 8 p.m. as always. You guys know where to be. Thanks for a wonderful evening, guys. Hope you guys have been well. And it's coming into spring now, so hopefully it's going to get a little bit warmer here in NZ. But no problem. Everyone, appreciate your support. Hit that like and subscribe before you leave if you haven't already. And actually, yeah, just quickly then, shout out to Noah. If you guys haven't heard about Noah Jensen, has a rare blood disease, one of our development players. If there are comms on the Warriors Instagram, I saw maybe on the website as well. But if you would like to donate to that, show some love. But yeah, hopefully our bro there with that can get sorted, or we can provide support. The club can provide some support for him, and that gets help the whānau out. Is that is a very stressful time, isn't it? To have that happen to any young whānau. So appreciate that, Mackie, for bringing that up as well. But you guys, see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Stay safe. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow with that new team list, and Ash will be here as well. So up the wires as always. Stay safe. Peace. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.